Think only of the better times, she told herself, remembering her loved ones all bundled up and waving goodbye at the train station in Oslo, cut too deeply. She blew her nose and wiped the errant tear away. As Mama had always said, the good Lord will be with you and guide you when we can't. But right now, Nora needed a human hug, one that she could touch and feel and even hear. She sneaked a peek at the man in the other seat. She certainly could hear him. The train trip had not kept him awake. She focused her attention again to what was out the window. The snow didn't surprise her. It would be weeks yet before spring came to the hills and valleys at home. It was just the unending flatness of the land. The only rises were the drifts that piled against the buildings and sometimes stopped the train. Several times the railroad men had been forced to dig through the drifts so the train could continue. It would have helped if the men had allowed her to assist them in digging instead of just looking at her as though the wind had frozen her brain. Her brothers would have tossed her a shovel and dared her to outdig them. She caught a sigh as it was escaping her throat. Think about Hans, she ordered herself. Think of what a fine man he is. How wonderful it will be to have a home of your own and milk cows again. Think of his promise to buy some chickens in the spring. Will there be flowers by the house? She wondered, closing her eyes to see them better. Roses. I'll have pink ones and red ones, maybe even a scarlet climber. Just before she nodded off, she jerked upright. This time through the window she saw the sinking sun fling banners of orange and red, vermilion and gold across the sky. The heaped high gray clouds were now burnished to shine and glow like the very gates of heaven. As the fiery red sun slipped below the horizon, the clouds faded to lavender and purple, and back to gray. One thing this flat land does exceedingly well, Nora thought, is sunsets. She had never seen such a display, not even over her beloved mountains in Norway. As she watched, she dared not blink in fear that she might miss a single hue. "I'm sorry, miss," the woolen-coated conductor said as he paused at her seat. At least he spoke Norwegian. "But we'll be an hour later than I thought." He dragged out his gold watch and peered at its face. "Somewhere around 10, I expect." "Mange takk, thank you." Nora nodded with her words. "Surely your young man will check at the station so he'll know our arrival time." Nora nodded. She seemed to be doing a lot of that. Why didn't she feel the consolation the man was trying to offer? Was something wrong with her hearing? I'm sure Hans'll be there." "Not true," a little voice inside her whispered. "You're sure he won't be there to meet you?" Nora forced her lips into a smile and thanked the man again. She kept herself from turning around and watching him as he made his way down the length of the car, swaying with the movement of the train. He had boarded the train in Chicago and was beginning to seem like an old friend. The music of her own language cemented that feeling. She'd never dreamed that she would be at such a loss for words because she spoke only Norwegian. She started to take out her dictionary but put it back because the light was so dim. She'd not been able to concentrate on learning new words for the last 2 days anyway. Since the Norwegian woman she had traveled with left the train in Wisconsin, Nora had practiced English with no one. Seeing her reflection in the darkened window, she smoothed a few stray hairs up and tucked them under the thick golden braids she wore coronet style. She shook her head. "You really need to brush and rebraid your hair," she whispered to the woman in the glass. "And take a bath." She used her handkerchief to dab at her tongue and rub off a spot on her cheek. In the reflection, she could also see a portion of the car behind her. Polished wood on the walls and ceiling gleamed in the lamplight. The brown fabric of the padded seats was worn in spots. Some of the passengers had drawn their window curtains closed against the cold and dark.